Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. So today's session is basically on field service inspection and mobile inspection. So let's inspect the inspection. Let me give a brief introduction of myself. Hi, my name is Abhishek Chowdhury. I'm originally from Kolkata, India, but currently working and living in the Netherlands. I work for HSO Innovation BV. HSO is a member of Microsoft Inner Circle for last 13 years in a row, and they also got the prestigious Partner of the Year in FNO segment this year, and also the finalist of Connected Field Service. As per my as part of HSO innovation, I do design and technical implementation of different products, and some of them are present as part of app source. And as well as I also present in or do technical design and implementation of different integration and projects as part of different domains and verticals. Sorry. So it's a disclaimer. The views or the opinion that are expressed as part of this session are entirely mine and do not reflect any other company, organization, or employer or entity with which I have been, am I now, or will be associated in future. The session in inspection is, as its early access feature is based on early access and may differ from the features available as part of your general availability during October release. So field service inspection are digital forms that technicians use to quickly and easily answer a list of questions or rather checklist as part of work order. As it is built upon a questions and answers principle, so hence inspection can be used across any vertical and domain. As of August, it is an early access feature and one has to install the public preview uh, to use it, and general availability will be on October and with some more added features. Some of them we also see on day before yesterday from Neha and Krina as well, like paging, versioning, export inspection as PDF, these things. And as to have inspection in your environment, Dynamics 365 version should be the version that I mentioned in the presentation or the version more than this. So So this is a Microsoft link which clearly gives you the step-by-step instruction how to install a preview feature. The most important thing here is you should consider is the flight ID, because sometimes based on your environment or the instance that you have choose, the flight ID gets differ, and then you see that the inspection is not getting installed. And if you follow the step-by-step instruction in a trial instance, it works seamlessly. It just works like a charm. Though I came across a couple of issues. So one of them is while getting the CRM flights, I get this Microsoft.xrm.online management API exception. So basically, you need to set the execution policy, and this solution is also part of your Microsoft documentation. So then this works for you. And another issue that we came with one of the instances which has a multi-factor authentication enabled is that it sometimes gives a forbidden exception when you try to get CRM flights. So we try to resolve this. Even we try to get help from Microsoft. They also tried, but it was something that is not working in our favor. So what they did, they just enabled that flight mode from backend, and then that started to work. So as the GA is in close vicinity, so I don't think that we should much consider about these exceptions because those things will be resolved. So let's start with the inspection life cycle. So the inspection starts with life cycle starts with creating of inspection templates. Once the inspection template is created with a set of questions, and then the administrator can publish that inspection once it's published. So initially the inspection is getting created as a draft, it is in draft mode. So once you publish it, then you can use it as part of service task type. So in service task type, you can add those inspections, and then administrator can associate that service task type to a particular incident type, and via that he can associate that to a work order, or a dispatcher can directly associate that service task type to a work order. And then the dispatcher schedules the work order, then that booking comes to your field engineer's mobile device. They can fill up the questionnaires, and then we can view the responses. So this is pretty much the life cycle. So now let's come to different types of questions. I think let's start with a demo that will be easy to understand. So once you install the flight mode, then I'm just using a trial instance. I installed the flight mode, enabled the flight mode here, and I have the latest field service version here. It's the instance is created a couple of days back only. So here inside your settings, so basically when you install that flight mode, two things get installed available here. One is this report, which is still in preview. So I'm not going to go on that topic right now. And the other thing is inspection, which is present as part of this work order segment. So let's go to inspection. Uh, as I do not want to waste too much time, so I already have created one inspection, but as it is in published state, so currently I cannot edit or make changes in this inspection. But in future, probably we are going to get a revise option by which we can create multiple versions of a particular inspection. So right now, what I'm going to do, go and copy this particular inspection. So now the identical inspection will be created here. I will go and change its name to something else. Let's make it 01. Okay, now these are the set of question types that are available as part of inspection. The first one is the text box. Text box means it allows your field technicians to input some text. This text could be a single line text or could be a multi-line text, like as you can see from input type. So you can also define some placeholder information here so that the user of this particular inspection will get some intelligence like what to input as part of this particular field. Then you have this nice toggle thing which makes this required or optional. So this is also a nice feature. Then you have this three types of fixed uh, static values like your option, checkbox, radio group, and the drop down. The checkbox is a multi-select option, and the other two are basically single select option. Inside checkbox, you also get a couple of nice features like has other item, then you can have other option. And once you select that other option in UI, it becomes you can get a text box to input the other option there. And you also have a select all and a select none option. So this is a nice feature to have. And if you go to this other option like drop down or the radio group, they are basically same because both of them has a single selection option. The user based on its user interface requirement can choose what field or what type of question he wants, whether it's a drop down or it's a radio group. So it's totally upon the user. Then comes this date time field, which has basically three data types: date, time, date, and time. So let's check date here. Then you have this one, which is a radio group, and you have the number. So number is basically you can have a whole number or a decimal here. So and you have different kind of range validations here. Based on that, you can fire some validations like if it is beyond 0 to red 2 range, you can have a particular exception. But you cannot define the exception messages as of now. Then you have this entity lookup, which is basically which will allow 365 entities to be shown here. Like field engineer can use 365 records like customer assets or users or resources as part of this dropdown. The only limitation that is present as part of the entity lookups currently, it shows both active as well as inactive records. So basically, if you go to my slide, I also define the OData URL that currently being used here. So it is basically checking on the null of the MSDN name. That means your primary field's name. So if it is not null, whether it's active or inactive, that field will be that data will be shown in your lookup. But I think in future, Microsoft is going to make some changes here and they are going to give some filtering attributes. I hope so. That will be really beneficial here. And also regarding security roles here, this particular entity types or the question types also adhere by your security rules. So if you do not have permission for a particular entity, you are not going to get that as part of your lookup. Last but not the least, the file type or the upload thing. So you can upload it a particular image here. You can take a picture or you can take it from somewhere from your device. So these are the basic types, question types that are currently available. Let's go to preview. This is a pretty nice feature because as currently once you publish, you cannot edit it. So it's better to check what you want before you can publish it. Also, before publish and give it to anyone to use it, you can check the behavior of the entire stuff. Like here, if the parts is changed to yes, I'm showing this particular text box. And if it is 1, then I'm showing the asset 1. And if it is 2, then I'm showing the asset 2. So this thing is happening from your logic implementation. That's basically the branching implementation. So there are a couple of things which are really nice about branching. The main two things are define condition and define actions. So by defining condition is that you can choose a particular question, let's say this one, and based on some this value, you can have 3 options currently: show the question, change to required, or skip to question. So show the questions is basically showing or hiding the question. Change to required means making it required or optional, and skip the question means you have, let's say, 5, 6, and 7, 3 questions, and based on 5's value, you can skip the 6th and go to 7 directly. One of the thing to mention here that if you are already have used one question as part of your define action, you cannot choose it anymore. So it becomes read only. So let's not do anything with that. And let's go and publish it. So currently it is in draft state. Let's publish it. Once you publish your inspection, you will not be able to edit it afterwards. So it is giving you a nice alert. One more thing, as part of your logic implementations where you have those conditions, there is another condition, make page visible, which is probably going to be available in GA, which allows you to have multiple pages of questionnaires. And then based on the response of one question in the first page, you can show and hide the next page. So that will be a nice feature as well. So our inspection is ready now. So let's go to service task types and create one service task. I have a lot of one available here, but even though I'm going to create one. So let's keep some duration, maybe 1 hour. And there are 2 new fields that have been introduced that's part of service task type. One is has inspection, and if you make it yes, then your inspection becomes available and mandatory. So now you have to choose one inspection here. So we have created this inspection 01 underscore checklist. So let me select that one. So once I select that one, it previews all the questionnaires that are part of it here. So let's save it. It's got saved. Let's go to incident type. Okay, now the step is how does like in the life cycle, as I've earlier mentioned, that there are 2 ways to do that. Either you can have this incident have that is service task type inside a incident type and then associate that incident type to your work order, or a dispatcher can go directly to work order in service task and they can manually add it. So I'll go for the first option. Like I'll have a incident type here, and inside your service task, I'm going to add that service task that I've just created. This one, and save and close. So now that service task is available here. Let's go to work orders. And let's create a new work order. Let's choose a service account. And let's choose a incident type that I just attached to that particular service task. And let's save it. Now wait for couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds before that service task gets updated as part of your default incident. So basically here, this is my primary incident type, and this incident type has that service task, and that service task, this service task has those inspections. So ultimately your work order is going to get these inspections via this route. So let's go to work order once. Go to service tag. I hope they are come now. Yeah, they are available. So now let's go to schedule board, and the 10 is available here. So let's schedule it. I don't have any business rule or access, so I can schedule it at any time. So now this work order has been scheduled. So the dispatcher has done his job, and now it's the job of the field engineer to fill up the questionnaires. So here, basically, I checked with both the field service mobile as well as the field service mobile app, the new one, and I like the field service mobile, the new one, and so I will give a demo with that one. So let's switch into mobile device. So here I'm using a power mirror, which is a trial version. So there will be a white mark is coming in the middle. So my sincere apologies for that. Let me mirror it. Give me a second. Can someone tell me that whether they can see the mobile device or not? Because I can see it, but still I'm not to confirm. Hello, Andy?
Yep, we can see that.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for confirming. Yeah, so now you can see that I have that booking at 1:30 p.m. So let's go inside that booking. Here we are inside that booking. That screen is not refreshing for the mobile. Yeah. Yeah, let me try to mirror it again. Yeah, I hope now it will work. Let's go here. Yeah, now here, this is my work order service task inside your booking. And here you can see two important things. One is these are the service task types. So here you have this one as 0, which is the percent of completion. And this one suggests that it has some inspection inside it. Still not refreshing. Yeah. So it is giving some unusual behavior anyway. So let's do it. This is scheduled inspection. And let's select it all. Then go to this one. Other, maybe we need a updation of manual here. Then let's say we have a physical damage here. Then the date is 15th. Parts change, yes, we need it. And number of parts change, we need, let's say 1. Then the customer asset 1 will come here based on the logic that we have defined there. Let's choose any of them and then choose a file. So the max file size, as per my knowledge, is around 3 GB, but I need to verify that. I'm not quite sure on that number. And let's put that result as pass and save it. So it is getting saved now. If I go back, so here you can see that the percentage is 100%. So now let's quickly go into the Power Automate. Basically what I did, I created a couple of Power Automates. What it does is basically your process definition questions and process definition responses are stored as part of the two entities, process definition and process definition response. So the first one, this one here, if you go inside this particular Power Automate, what I'm doing, I'm getting those records, the questionnaires, and then I'm just getting the that particular field which has that process definition defined, and then I'm decoding that, and I have a JSON available with me. So this is the structure pretty much. So you can see from here that it has a title, description, pages. So we are pretty sure that there will be multiple pages in future. Elements, we have different types of questions. So you have type, name, title, whether it's required or not. And if you go to a particular node, let's say this one, let's say this one, which has a number of parts. So it also, its visibility depends on this one. So it is also mentioned as part of your JSON. And if you go to that validators, you have that entire validation logic, that logic that you have created in CRM is also present as part of this entity. So we can use this if we want to render it somewhere. And also if I go to the responses, so basically I've created one Power Automate which runs against whenever a new response comes in. So if you go inside that, and you can decode that as well, you have that JSON with you. So basically you can have this structure. So these are basically the names that you defined as part of your when you are defining that your questionnaires, you define some nomenclature. So these are basically those names. So whenever you are trying to build something, do define these names in a very categorical or a very understandable way so that you can parse JSON if you require it in future. So this is your answer structure. You have that name, then all these values that have been selected that are there. The date that I have selected is also here. The assets that I've chosen is also here. And the purse change is also here. So pretty much I have all the informations that I need here. So once I have these two JSONs, the applications or the extension that I can do in this environment is pretty much limitless. So like the scenario, like if inspection checklist required by the customer, then based on this answer responses, you can create a PDF and send them a mail with the attachment. Even if you, let's say, have a tag here called follow-up, and which if it is yes, then you can basically send a create a work order or maybe a case. And let's say you have another scenario and maybe customer shows interest in one of your products, like you have a maybe you have a water filter and which has a carbon filter currently, but the customer shows a bit of interest in your UV filter as well. So then basically you can have that response here, and your agent or can put that information here, and then based on that you can create a lead or maybe a quote and send it to the customer. So the things that you can do with this is pretty much enormous. And let's say if you go to work order as well, in the booking, there also you can see this shit. My bad. So here you can also see the response that I've done. So sometimes this doesn't get loaded. So if you do a Control Shift R, then these things get loaded pretty much. Okay. So here you can have, so one thing that dispatcher cannot delete this particular attachments. So either he or she need a annotation rule or admin can delete it for them. And also another thing that you can have this inspection as part also related to customer assets directly, and then what will happen, you can have the history of inspections based on a particular customer asset. So as the time is a bit limited, so I cannot do that demo right today, but in future probably we can do that demo. So based on my experience with inspection for last couple of weeks that I've they have a look into this. It's a nice add-on and a really much weighted feature that we are looking for. And a lot of customers are also going to be happy because they will now have to consider it on a single product instead of multiple products. uh, so that's all pretty much from my side. I hope I have given a good insight to inspection, and I'm really thankful to Antti, Raj, Ben, Sean, and Mark for organizing this kind of stuffs. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You have that QR code of mine, which has a LinkedIn ID. So it has all the information about me, like my email ID, my mobile, and everything. So I think I'm done with that session, and I hope it will help you to understand inspection, and you will take it forward from here. Andy, uh, probably I completed 2 minutes before my schedule, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for a very interesting session. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute